Welcome to the Inside Scoop, and today we will talk about how you can go from victim to victory. My guest is the beautiful Eleonor Amora Marklund, and she is the revolutionary indigo icon. Please, Eleanor, do tell us more. What the hell does that even mean?
Thank you for inviting me. And yes, what does that mean? What's an indigo? Well, as we are going to speak about the high sensitive personalities as well today, this is the high sensitive personality is what I usually call an umbrella term for different kind of spiritual personalities, where indigos is one. We often say indigo children, crystal children, rainbow children, for example. And an indigo in this case is often described as the warrior, the one that sees through everything. They are the truth seekers and the truth seers in this. You can't lie to an indigo because it's gonna, you're gonna get all the system just pointing it out. So what we are here to do is that we're actually going to be in the middle of this revolution, being the new world's leaders, burning down the old system and recreating the new. So that is my mission in my life, a part of it anyway, to stand there on the barricades and point out what needs to be changed and change it. Wow. And they are also really psychic, and there's a lot to say about them, of course, and myself, since I am one. But that's the main theme.
Okay, super cool. I, for one, never heard of I know it's a color as well, indigo, but I never heard of this term being also a spiritual way to look at people. Because you do hear about the term crystal children or new age children or all that stuff, but that's super cool to hear about this. Now, I'm really, really excited to learn more about your story, Eleanor, because we'll be talking about how you can go from victim to victory. And for me, that has been quite the struggle, because I was in that victim role for a really long time, and it had cost me a lot of energy. So please do tell us more about how do you experience, or how did you experience the victim role in the past, maybe, and how did you change that up for victory?
Cool. Yeah, and it's such an important subject, as you know. Well, I have been a clairvoyant since birth. I have been a psychic all my life, very intuitive. I see the auric field, and that is why this is also something that I do, since I see what the person are, if they are an indigo crystal, etc. And the problem in this is that all those are intuitives, all those are empaths. Okay. What happened with me was that I didn't have any tools. I was an empath. I picked up everything, every emotion around me. And when picking up every emotion around you, you are sooner or later either going to be having a burnout, or you're going through some kind of psychosis. Okay? Because the problem is that you can't control the inputs from the other fields around you. You're picking up all kind of emotions from people, all kind of information from situations, places, etc., etc. And I had burnout for 10 years. It came because I started to having all these relationships with different men that were narcissists of some degree. So it broke me down even more. And when it broke me down, it also made me remove all my boundaries, because that's what happened when you're with a narcissist. You suddenly realize that your borders, your boundaries, they are completely gone. And what I was in the place where I actually tried to commit suicide. That's how far it became. He tried to kill me. I tried to commit suicide. And after that, I had an epiphany. I had a meeting, you can say, when I almost died. Or when I died, I stopped breathing. I came back from the void. I had my knowing that I had to leave him, that I had to get out of there, that this was the end of my past life, and this was the beginning of my new one. And what I started to do, because then was when I was in the burnout, in the victim feeling of this, when I thought that everything happened to me because he was doing it, or they were doing it, or etc., etc., etc. What happened was that I remembered that I had to take care of my energy field, because since I had been an empath for all my life, a clairvoyant for all my life, I started doing healing and such things in a very early age. But somehow in the middle of this, I forgot. I forgot who I was. I forgot all my tools. I forgot all my, all the classes I had taken in the past. But what I did was that I started first with controlling my thoughts. If you control your thoughts, you're going to control your energy field, because they are connected. You are actively telling your field what to do if you are thinking that. So what I did was that I had to, because when you're in a burnout or a depression of some kind, you have these spiraling thoughts that are spiraling downwards all the time. So I had to cut them off. I had to break them apart to start controlling the thought. And I could do it. I didn't have to think all, flower power like this and just love and light. I just had to realize that, okay, this is a negative thought. I just have to start thinking about another one, whatever the other one is. For example, if I am drinking water, then replacing the idea of I want to kill myself with this is water is far better than the thought before, right? So that was the first step, taking back the control of my mind, my thoughts. And I did it. And after that, I started with controlling my energy system, because I also realized I was just a wreck when it came to my field. I just picked up everyone's emotions. And the situation that really made me realize that was I was on a party, with some friends. And I couldn't tell if there had something been happening in that apartment, if it was in the past or if it was going to happen in the future, or if it was happening now. And that is as close as you can get to psychic psychosis, if you suddenly get all the inputs at once and you get more or less hysterical, because you don't know what to make of it. And I just knew I had to get out of that apartment. I knew something bad had happened there, or was going to happen there, because that is also my gifts. I see the timelines. But now they were just entangled in each other. I couldn't make anything out. It was just happening all at once. And that is the problem in this, when your natural boundaries are gone. Everything is just coming to you, and you can't live a normal life if you are letting that control you, because that's what happens when you're a strong empath, a strong intuitive, and you realize you can't go to meetings with a lot of people. You can't walk around in the town. You can't go to stores anymore because you are either being that exhausted afterwards, or you are creating some kind of social phobia. Because that's often what I see when it comes to empaths, high sensitive personalities, that you are going to be in that spectra, either the exhausted part or the social phobia part. So one of my missions in this is to make people realize that this sensitivity is a gift when it's being controlled, when you are controlling the field. Because when you are controlling the field, controlling your thoughts, it's almost as if you compare a light bulb to a laser beam. The light bulb, it's just spreading its light everywhere and can't control it. It's all around you. But I am creating the laser beam. And when I have that control of my field, I feel great. I don't pick up all kind of energies anymore. I can decide when to do the psychic things that I do and when to do the muggle things, that I can actually have a normal life with my husband, who is a muggle. I mean, he's not into the magic stuff. He just wants to live the normal life. And since I am controlling my field, I can have the best in both worlds.
I just love that you speak in Harry Potter terms. That's
Yeah.
what you said first, the muggles.
Yeah.
I really love that. That's a really good one. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. If I look back in my own story, my own life, it's been exactly that. First, struggling, losing myself, thinking a lot about how I don't want to live, not as much as I want to die, but I want to go home. You don't fit in here, and you feel that it's not right. Things aren't right, and then when you come at that point, for me, it was a burnout. So yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned that so beautifully. For me, it was a burnout where I also had my switch, my inner switch, and it's so interesting to see that once you start to step fully into your own light, step by step, of course, because it is a process, let's be honest, that it gets so much easier to control the emotions of others. Because I do see, when working with artists especially, they do have the tendency to go hide themselves because of all the pulling and pushing everywhere, and because of all the emotions they're experiencing, and everybody wants something from them. And it's like you say, I do have a lot of clients who say, I just don't like to go to parties anymore because it exhausts me. Even when they have to drive the car, it exhausts them because there's so much overstimulation and energy everywhere. And for me, what I've noticed is that the more I was in touch with my own energy field and with my own emotions, and like you said, first managing my thoughts, to then following managing my emotions and my energy field. And then it's so much easier to just completely, fully be yourself everywhere you go. But also, when I fill my own space up with positive energy and high vibes and fun, there just isn't much room left for negativity from others anymore. That's the way I do it, to always stay in my own high vibe, and not letting others cost me energy. Do you have some tips how because you talk a lot about to control the energy field? Please do enlighten us. How do you help people to get them to control that energy field? What is a great tip that they can use?
A great tip they can use is to actually start being aware if they are inside their body or not. Because most of my clients, they have a problem with being in the body. And that is, you have to find your inner core, your inner frequency, and be aware of where it is in the body, and to how to magnify it, how to make it bigger, how to use it, how to put a direction to it, to what you want to create. That can be done in numerous ways, of course, but meditation is, of course, one thing. But just realizing that you have this unique frequency, because when you are an empath, you probably aren't aware of how your own frequency feels like or sounds like, or the nuance in the color, because you have always been entangled with other people's emotions. So that is the first number one thing to get clear about. You have to find your own frequency. Find it in the meditations, find it in when you go around in connecting with nature. Look upon the difference between your own field and the tree or the bird. You can feel the difference. Okay, this often takes about 2 months or so when I do the coaching, but it's a good thing for them to do. They can start doing this by themselves. But what is also very, very important to realize is, because in the spiritual field, we are often taught that it's enough if you put a shield around your energy field and that it's going to be enough. And then people are saying, yeah, I'm doing that and it's not working because I'm still exhausted. And I'm like, yeah, and do you know why? And they're like, yeah, tell me why. The thing is, I often tell them it's almost as if when it's raining and you put on a rain jacket, yeah? If you are continuously going to put your arms outside of the jacket, then they are going to be wet, right? That's the problem with the energy field, with those borders that you're creating, the shield that you're creating, because people are outside of their own energy field scanning, and they aren't even aware that they can decide not to do it. And that is what's most exhausting, because if you are constantly out there scanning your surroundings, and that's if you have been in a narcissistic relationship, I can promise you that you're doing this 24/7. Yeah. You have to realize that there is actually an on and off switch in this. And that we can take back the power by starting to understand what kind of patterns do you have? What kind of, survival methods do you have when it comes to both your mind, your mindset, your energy field, your scanning methods, your intuitive abilities? Because when you start realizing that is when you start realizing that everything in your life can be changed by changing this. And then you start realizing that it doesn't matter if your ex was an idiot, or if you have a problem with your father, or if the neighbor is an asshole. It doesn't matter. Because when you start controlling your mindset, your focus, your thoughts, your energy field, then you are going to be like this superhero. And you can do anything from creating an 8-figure business to just being a successful CEO to a happy mom. Everything is connected. And what's interesting in this is that I have a lot of clients from the psychiatric field, and of course people who has been, they have had problems and have had to reach out to the psychiatric field. But I have a lot of doctors and psychiatrists, because they have seen this, because they have a problem with this themselves, but they also see this in their patients. So there's a lot of those coming to me to understand how this works, because it's so important, and to realize that you can go from the victim to the victory, and it doesn't have to take 10 years of going to a therapist. It can be done in 2 months, 1 year. And then you're fine to do whatever you want to do. And you can really grow into this amazing person that you're supposed to do, and find your passion, purpose, and live the life of your dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And you completely say it all the way that I feel about it as well, because yeah, to be honest, I think that's the reason why we are here on earth, because not because we have to work hard or because we have to be successful. Being successful or being wealthy or being happy are just side effects of
Yeah.
just totally and fully being yourself. And that's why I think it's so important for people to now, especially at this time and this year, it's you can feel it everywhere. It's our time to step into the light, because it's all about empathic leadership. People who like to serve others, like doctors, like psychologists, like musicians, like actors. We all want to serve others. That's such a beautiful quality from being high sensitive. And once you start to master your own energy field, it is so beautiful to see how much qualities we have, because I truly believe, and every day more and more, and the more I step into my own light, the more that I feel the truth about this. That is that I don't know. Do you know? Yeah, you watch Harry Potter, so probably you know X-Men too. And
Yeah.
the X-Men, it's like the X gene, a mutation, and it's not exactly the same, but sometimes I do feel a little bit like that inner superstar of me wants
Yeah.
to fully come out, because it is evolution. It
Yeah.
is that when you look at animals, it's the high sensitive animals who will warn the pack when danger is coming, so they can run and they can hide, or they can create new ways to be safe.
Yeah.
And that's a top quality. But for people, we just have so much more talents. And I'm super grateful that you took us through the process of that energy field, because it's really valuable. I
Yeah.
remember when I used to be at mass or at a funeral, and you could just feel
Mm.
all that sadness coming in. And I remember making the bubble around myself and the shield and everything. I tried everything. And now that I know that it's all about my frequency, instead of the way you
Mm.
so beautifully put it, scanning my surroundings, because that's what we do. We see the people crying and heartbroken, and we feel it, because that's being empathic, of course, which we are. And
Yeah.
then you feel it in every bone of your body. And now it's just about refocusing, redirecting my energy to myself and to being the love and the light that I want to be, to adjust my frequency to serenity at that place, probably, so that I can be a beacon of support for those people who are so heartbroken. It's
Mm.
not about being happy in a place where people are sad. It's about being the light, so that others can use that again to feel better themselves. And I think once we can do that more and more on all the levels in our life and day, and meeting with people, our relationships, that this world will be such a beautiful place. And I think that is pure victory, just truly being yourself and stepping into that light. I want to ask, Eleanor, do you have like one final tip that you would love to give to the people watching this interview?
The final tip is that I actually think there is a gene in this as well. I think what you said about the X gene, I mean, there's an MTHFR gene there is something called the God gene also that they are looking into, and I am pretty sure that this is the one of the intuitive genes. Because one of the side effects that they actually write about is religiosity, when you're a spiritual. So what we need to know about that, and what's the most important in this, is that if you are an empath, if you're an intuitive, you have to start thinking about making choices to be toxin free. So choose organic, choose clean water, choose a toxic free environment when it comes to your life as well, of course. And I mean, there's toxic relationships, and we can go on and on and on about that. And to just realize the most important thing is that you are the creator of your reality. Own your history, own your past, own your life, own your frequency. You got this, and you're going to be amazing if you just realize that you can create everything you have ever dreamed about.
Wow. That is like the most powerful way to end this Inside Scoop. Thank you so much for your presence, Eleanor, and for enlightening us with this beautiful way of looking at the energy field, emotions, and how to step into that victory. So thank you so much, and we will be talking soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.